The Hodja gave me some advice, and I promised I would follow all of it. He offered us bread and water, saying it would be good for us to eat something before we left. We ate and then left. On the way, my dad kept giving me advice to listen to the Hodja. But my mind was on the book and the necklace, and I wasn't really listening. We got home, and my mom opened the door. I was a little angry at her. "Why didn't you go to the neighbors, Mom?" I asked. "I just got back, son," she said. I still don't know if she was telling the truth or if she had stayed at home alone. I didn't press the issue. She asked what we had done and what the Hodja had said. I showed her the paper he had given me. It was rolled up. I hadn't opened it. "I have to wear this around my neck," I said. "Also, mirrors and paintings are not good for the room, especially the one I sleep in." "Okay, son, we'll get rid of them all. No problem," she said. We put everything in a box. I told my dad I felt ready to sleep in my room alone. I wasn't, but my mum and dad's sleep schedules were a mess, and I wanted them to get some rest. I now realize I wasn't thinking of them. I wanted to be alone with that book and necklace. It was bedtime again. My dad asked if I was sure I wanted to sleep alone. "I am, Dad. I don't have nightmares when I'm alone." I lied. My fear had been replaced by curiosity. What was in that book and that necklace? What was their purpose? Would these nightmares ever end? "Look, guys, I'm continuing this out of respect for my friends here. Put your hand on your heart. I've been writing for 25 pages, and they've only found 2 logical inconsistencies. Guys, I'm a human being, and I'm trying to write every single day as it happened. Of course, I might write some things wrong. All I want is for those who don't believe or who want to play detective to stick to other topics. This isn't a comedy. I said in the title that I'd provide evidence and screenshots. I'll give them to my truly mature friends. No one wants to be responsible for the sins of the jinn. I respect those who make fun of it, but they're only making fun of a tribe's name. If they're so brave, they can call them by their names. I see the teenagers are increasing again." I went to my room and lit a cigarette. There were only 2 left in the pack. I was trying to act normal, not think about them, and be a normal person. I lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling, lost in thought. The room felt bigger now that the mirror and paintings were gone, but I couldn't control the thought at the back of my mind. "I have to open that book," I said to myself, and got up and knocked on my mom's door. She opened it anxiously. "What's wrong, son?" she asked. "Nothing, Mom, I'm fine. I just need a picture," I said. "What do you need a picture for at this hour?" she asked. "I just need it," I said. She gave me a picture of me she had in her bag. "Let me come and sleep with you," she said. "No, Mom, I'm really fine," I said. I went back to my room, cut out my face from the picture, put it in the necklace, and put the necklace on. Then I opened the book to the page Atakan had told me about. I wrote down the words, which I guessed were Farsi or Arabic, on some pieces of paper. Then I said to myself, what am I doing? All this happened because of Atakan. What if doing what he says gets me into more trouble? I thought I should only do what the Hodja says, or even take the book to him. He would know what to do. But the book was mine now. Why should I take it to the Hodja? Maybe he was a bad person. I thought about everything. After thinking for 5 minutes, the bad thoughts won. Why should I use this book only in the way Atakan said, I thought. Who knows what else I can do with this book? I tried to push these thoughts away, but they kept coming back stronger. I finally lost control and slowly separated all the pages one by one. There were shapes on the top of each page and what I guessed were Arabic or Farsi writings underneath. I didn't understand any of it. I wrote down one of the words on a piece of paper, like a drawing, so I could take it to a bookstore in the morning and buy a dictionary. I decided against Atakan's plan and put the papers back in the book without burning them. I put the book under the bed and the necklace around my neck. I lay on the bed. I had finished the last cigarette. I swore. I was feeling tense. I fell asleep, staring at the ceiling. When I woke up, there was a weight on me. I immediately went to the window. The sky was red, like fire. I was in my university room again, and the streets were empty, as if I was the only person in the world. I turned around, and no one was there. Someone was calling me from the door. As I kept saying I wasn't coming and backing away, they said, "Come." I looked at the door, and I saw my mother's eyes. A person recognizes their mother's eyes anywhere. When I saw her eyes, I threw myself into the dark corridor and hugged her. But my mum's back felt strange. I felt ash when I touched her. I looked down and saw her feet were reversed. When I looked at her face, I saw a person with long, dirty, oily hair, black teeth, and two pairs of flames in her eye sockets. Her face and body were Atakan's, but her eyes were different. They were burning. She was saying something to me with a hateful look, but I couldn't understand. She pointed to my necklace. I looked, and my necklace was around my neck. I opened it and saw my picture inside, but on my forehead, the word I had drawn for the bookstore was written with ash. I looked at her again, and she was trying to choke me. Then I woke up to my father's voice, shouting at my mum to get water. "Son, are you okay? Was it a nightmare again?" he asked. I only said, "Yes, Dad." I was yelling and laughing at myself again. My dad heard me and came. He told me to go to sleep, that he was next to me. I slept until morning. When I woke up, the first thing I did was take the paper I had put in the book and go to the bookstore. The word on my forehead in my dream was the same as the one on the paper. I was very curious. I was about to leave when my mom called me. She had made breakfast. She insisted that I eat, but I said I was in a hurry. I told my dad I might be late and he could go to the coffee house. I didn't plan on being late. My goal was to get a dictionary and examine the book. I went to one of those religious bookstores, thinking they would know. The man took the paper, looked at me, and said, "This is Arabic." I asked, "What does it say?" He said, "It says come." I froze. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," I said. "Can you give me a comprehensive Arabic dictionary?" I took the dictionary, paid, and left. I was walking home, my mind full of thoughts. Why was come written on my picture in my dream? Why were they saying come? What did they want from me? With these thoughts, I got home. My dad had gone to the coffee house. My mum opened the door. I went straight to my room. I opened the book and put the dictionary next to it. I first looked up the first two words, which came out as fire and knowledge. I guess it meant the knowledge of fire. Then I tried to translate the words on the page Atakan had told me about, but they had no meaning. I translated them letter by letter, and strange words came out. One of them was one of the 5 names Atakan had mentioned, a 3-letter word. When I translated the title of the page, I saw that it said destroy. Under the title destroy, the name Atakan had mentioned was written. Atakan was trying to make me destroy one of them. But why was he making me do it? He probably didn't think I would open the entire book. He must have thought I would just open the page he told me about, write the words, and burn them. I opened the first page and saw a picture that looked like the eyes I had seen in my dream. It was just a drawing. I could send a screenshot of that page if anyone wants to. Translating the book with only a dictionary was very hard. All the letters looked alike. But when I saw the knowledge of fire on the first page, it wasn't hard to guess that it wasn't a good book. As I turned the pages, my shock grew. There were many unrelated shapes, like a child's coloring book. I got tired of translating letter by letter and just looked at the pictures. On a page near the end, I saw candle-like shapes. There were exactly 28 candles in the picture. The ritual I had done with Atakan came to mind. Atakan had also used 28 candles that night. He must have learned the ritual from this book. I sat there for 2 hours, translating that page. This was a ritual. These candles served as a gateway for communicating with certain entities. The smoke rising from the candles provided them with a body, and they could communicate through the smoke. When Atakan had told me to be silent that night, and I had unknowingly killed one of their children. At least that's what I thought, because the events had intensified after that night. They wanted revenge for their child. I decided I would perform the ritual again myself and tell them I wasn't the one who was responsible. I wanted to get rid of them so badly. I translated that page. I don't know if it's right to give the details of the ingredients, but I'll tell you anyway. 28 candles, a necklace purified by the jinn. Any necklace would do, as long as you could put your picture in it and wear it around your neck, and the words written in that book. I prepared all the candles and made the shape from the book that I had also witnessed Atakan make. I put the necklace with my picture in the center of the shape and wrote down the names. I turned off the lights. As the candles burned, the same thing that had happened at Atakan's house began to happen again. Thousands of shadows were moving in my empty room. But I had to focus on the candles. Looking elsewhere was dangerous. I wrote down the Turkish pronunciations of the words from the book and began to read them from there. I read the words and then the first name. I did the same for the other names in order. I don't know how to explain this feeling. It's like talking to yourself, or like the wind is talking to you. It's not like you hear them speaking Arabic, you just understand them because they're speaking from within you. But someone watching the ritual from the outside would think you were speaking Arabic to yourself. It's like how dogs understand each other, but we only hear them barking. When you communicate with them, an outsider thinks you're speaking Arabic. I read the words from the book and said, "From the tribe of Gatus, son of Ansard, introduce yourself." It just said, "Come." "Quiet," I said. "Just introduce yourself." I'm not going to give too much detail. It makes me feel bad, and it's not good for you either. "I am not a murderer," I said. "You are," it said. "We will come for your 7 generations. We will not leave you alone until we have our revenge." "I am not a murderer," I said again. It just repeated, "We will come for your 7 generations." "I'll kill you," I said. "All of us?" it asked. The candles flared up so much that I knocked them all over in fear. The curtain caught fire. My parents came running and dragged me out. The news reported that the fire's cause was unknown, but I knew what it was. I was watching my room burn from the outside. Everything was in that room. The book, the necklace. I didn't care about the clothes. My last hope, that book, was burning, and I was just watching. The flames were so intense, it was as if someone was constantly pouring gasoline on them. It looked like a fireball had consumed the room. I was just watching with my mum and dad. The neighbors had come out. The firefighters had a hard time putting out the fire. It hadn't spread to other places. Only my room was left in ashes. I didn't know whether to be happy or sad. We went back inside, exhausted. No one said a word. My dad didn't ask what caused the fire, nor did my mum. They just watched my room burn with worried, tired eyes. When we got upstairs, I asked my dad, "Aren't you curious why the fire started?" He just hung his head and said nothing. The three of us sat in the living room. "When will I be free, Dad?" I asked, crying. "I don't know, son. I don't know." I didn't go into the room that night. I stayed up until the morning prayer, and then I found the courage to go in and see what was left. I'm taking a break from the story to provide some information. If you've noticed, I've only referred to them as they. I have never given their names, what they are, or what kind of tribe they belong to. I have changed some things in the story, because if I wrote them down as they were, I would be performing a ritual right now, and if you read what I wrote and repeat it, you would also be participating in this ritual. My inbox has been overflowing since this morning. I'm sure most of the people who are asking for the names and shapes are teenagers who are unaware of what they can do with them. I'll give the evidence and screenshots to my truly mature friends, as I said in the title. No one wants the sin of that. I respect those who make fun of it, but they're only making fun of a race's name. If they're so brave, they can call them by their names. I see the teenagers are increasing again. I went into the room. Everything was black. I thought they were playing a game with me again, but I wasn't as scared as before. They had ruined my school and my family. What more could they do? Everything was in ruins. I felt something under my foot. I lifted my foot and saw my necklace on the floor, but it was all black. My eyes were searching for the book, but there was no way it could have survived the fire. I opened the necklace, and my picture was still there, but it was the most terrifying thing I had ever experienced. The writing was on my forehead this time, and it wasn't a dream. I was mixing up dreams and reality. The writing was made of ash. My necklace was closed, and the picture was intact. So who wrote that there, and why? I wasn't asking these questions anymore, because I knew they did it, and if I had to name them, it must have been one of the five. I decided to take the necklace to the Hodja. I put it in my pocket and told my dad I wanted to go to the Hodja's village. "Okay, son," he said. He was more tired of it than I was, but he couldn't say anything. Who could he tell? He would be branded as crazy. We went to the Hodja's house. The same young woman opened the door. She had a very interesting face. Her eyes were always looking down. I had never seen her eyes before. We went in. The Hodja was at home. "Why didn't you bring it earlier?" he asked. "What, Hodja?" I asked. "The polluted thing in your pocket," he said. My dad and I looked at each other. "Come, sit down," he told me. I sat in front of him. "Give it to me," he said. He took it from me and looked inside. "Do you know what this writing means?" he asked. I nodded. "Do you know why they want you?" I nodded again. "Have you ever tried to communicate with them?" he asked. "No," I said. "Look me in the eye," he said. I looked at him. "Have you ever tried to communicate with them?" he asked again. "Yes," I said. "Are you wearing the thing I gave you?" he asked. "No," I said. "Are you wearing this instead?" he asked, pointing to the necklace. "Yes," I said. He slapped me. I'll never forget that. It was the first time I had been slapped in my life. My dad was shocked that the Hodja slapped me, but he didn't say anything. "Do you know what state you are in?" he asked. I was looking at the floor, not crying. "Look at me," he said. I looked into his eyes. "Do you know what state you are in?" he asked again. "No," I said softly. "Come here," he said, gesturing to his daughter-in-law. "Look into her eyes," he said. When she lifted her face, I was shocked. Her eyes were like fire, and her feet were reversed. I realized She was one of them. Look at your father, he said. I looked. Ask him how many people are in this room. I asked, Dad, how many people are in this room? He said, 3, son. Tears were now streaming down my face. Don't be afraid, the Hodja said. I only did this so you would know your state. It turned out that when we had gone to his house, he had said, come in, when we knocked, but I was in such a state that I thought the woman had opened the door. This Hodja was very famous. His guests would wait if he wasn't home. That day, when he went out to chop wood, we had waited, and the woman had been sitting there with us. But it was strange that my dad and his family hadn't talked to her. I had never thought something like this could happen. My logic couldn't grasp it. Since I was used to experiencing these things in my dreams, I was very scared. I will give the woman's name to anyone who wants it, because she won't harm you, he said. Seeing an entity that my dad couldn't see was more terrifying than anything I had seen in my dreams. I was seeing something that I had only seen in my dreams, but in a time frame where I was sure it wasn't a dream. It's like when you dream of falling off a cliff and wake up thinking, oh, it was just a dream. But what if you were really falling and you couldn't wake up? You're trapped in that moment, unable to distinguish between reality and dreams, and you can't tell anyone. That's what it was like to live a nightmare while awake. I finally understood the seriousness of the situation. The Hodja looked at me and said, tell me. A voice inside me told me not to tell him everything, not to mention the book. But this time, I didn't listen to that voice. I told the Hodja that these events had started because of my roommate, that I had found his necklace, and that he knew I had been in his room without any proof. I told him that instead of wearing the thing he had given me, I had worn the necklace Atakan gave me with my picture in it. I told him about my dreams. The Hodja listened without saying a word. Finally, he looked me in the eye and said, son, I knew the situation was bad, but I didn't know it was this serious. The pit of fear inside me deepened. This will be a long process. I will do everything I can to save you, but they have given you 5 of them. They are very, very dangerous, more powerful than anything I've ever seen. The reason is that you killed their children. They are waiting for you outside the door. They are everywhere with you, but they cannot enter this house.